You're tuned in to Ask the Master Auto Technician. Car questions? Get answers right now. Call 850-763-0555.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, 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 yeah!
All right, good morning, everybody. This is James Morris along with Anna Marie Morris. It's Wednesday morning show, and if you have a car question, now's the time to call that at 850-763-0555. You would think being in the month of December that air conditioning season would be over. Well, not so much in Florida because, well, we use air conditioning all year round. I mean, it's December, and yet it still have warm days. We got some cool days out there. We have about our month and a half of winter down here, and during that month and a half of winter, you use your air conditioning. And I got people out there going, no, James, it's cold. I don't use my air conditioning. If I use my air conditioning, I would know I use my air conditioning. But you do use your air conditioning. You use it when you hit it defrost. When you put that knob on defrost and that all of a sudden the air starts blowing on your windshield and it clears off, do you think it's magic? Or you just think it's the hot air that's doing it? No, it's not the hot air. It's cold air that does it a lot of times. You know, you turn it, as soon as you start the car up, you put it on defrost and the window defogs. How does that happen if it's not warm air going up there? Even if it's warm air, it won't defrost. Haven't we seen cars in the past that the people are going down the road with two little half moons? You know, have to look underneath the steering wheel at half moons.
Well, I can remember that happening when I was learning to drive.
Well, not that long ago. I mean,
well,
yeah.
Thank you.
You're just a pup. But no, it really wasn't that long ago. I see cars still going down the road that have air conditioning that doesn't work, and they only got two little half moons when they put on defrost cycle. That's what defrost does. It conditions the air by wringing out all the humidity. Remember, when it's cold outside and you're warm inside, relatively speaking, inside the passenger compartment, you've got condensation. Well, the only way you're going to get rid of that condensation is somehow wring the moisture out of the air. And the only way you're going to wring the moisture out of the air is conditioning it by running that warm, moisture-laden air over some very cold AC coils, such as this evaporator. This is an evaporator, and the hot air comes through this side. You know, the warm, moisture-laden air comes to this side, and as it goes through the other side, it wrings the moisture out, then the moisture drips down on the ground. Matter of fact, this is how this is set up in a car. This is the rear AC unit on the back of a car. This is the evaporator, and the customer complains saying, hey, you know, I've got a 10-year-old car, and my air conditioning was fine. You worked on, what'd I do? We worked on the engine. We put a oil line on it. And they noticed when they picked the car up, they said, hey, my air conditioner's not right. I go, well, we'll check it out. Let's take a look at it. Charged it up. It was low on refrigerant. I said, you know, it's entirely possible it's low on refrigerant. Let's put some dye in it. It could be just a normal, you know, due to age, we lost a little bit. Because it was only like, I think, 7 ounces low out of 3 pounds. And I said, let's just go ahead and charge it up, put some dye in it just to make sure. Well, when we did, the car came back 2 days later saying, hey, we still have the same problem. It's not as cold as it used to be. So we started looking. We looked all over the vehicle with a black light and glasses and couldn't see anything, you know, any discoloration of that, maybe this greenish, yellowish dye we stick in the system. And I told my guy, I said, if you can't pick it up with a leak detector and you're not seeing it with glasses and we're losing refrigerant because we sucked it out when it came back in the next time and it lost overnight 5 ounces. And I go, you've got an evaporator leaking. He says, well, how can we be for sure? I said, remove the blower resistor out of the front evaporator and remove it out of the rear evaporator box and look down inside where this evaporator is with your black light and yellow glasses. You should see a green substance somewhere down there. Well, he goes back there and looks at the front one and says, I don't see any green. It looks great. And then he goes to the back one back there and he says, something just looks different about the back unit back there. And I said, well, let me go take a look at it. Well, I'll go back and look at it. And this whole area with the black light, you may not be able to see it too much on this side, but you might be able to see it on this side. Yeah, you can see it on this side. This side right here is the part that's actually part that has the dye on it that actually is turning. I'm going to pick this up. My wife said, pick it up. And you can actually see the discoloration. You can actually see it's kind of, she's going to focus in on it. Right about here, you can see this green tint. All this right along in here. That is dye. And that is dye that we couldn't pick up with a leak detector. It is dye that we couldn't see because it's inside a box. Well, what we were able to do is get a window, so to speak, look down inside it, and we were able to see how this had turned. I think you can see the color is a little yellow on this side. If you turn this side, you don't see anything. That is, that's how it works. You've got the air coming through this side right here, and then it goes on the other side, and that's what ends up happening. Wherever there's a leak at, you're going to see it. Matter of fact, you can see, I think, right here. I think there's some discoloration right here that you can see, but it sits in the vehicle like this, straight up and down. This is the back unit, and this is what was leaking. And it apparently, it just since you worked on my car and you changed my oil lines on my engine, the rear back unit and the very, very back of the car, 15 feet away, is leaking. That's not my fault. It's just coincidental that it happens. And I have some people out there that say there's no such thing as coincidence. Well, when it comes to cars, the sense you phenomena always happens. I mean, it's normal. Think about it. You spend money to get your car fixed, and then all of a sudden you notice that you've got a problem that you didn't have before. Now, that's perfectly normal to do that. I mean, that is just human nature. That's why at James Auto Center, before we take your car to the back, we encourage you to go for a ride with us. I got some people that refuse to go for a ride with me. I go, that's okay. We're going to go for a ride, and I'll go for a ride. Maybe they got passenger seat full of something, and they can't. There's only room for one person in the car. I see that all the time. And I'll go for a ride, and I'll come back and say, did you notice this car vibrates when you give it gas? No. Did you notice this car, when I take corners, it makes strange noises? No. And I said, well, if you don't go for a ride with me, me and you ain't going, I'm not taking this car to the back. I said, I want you to hear these noises before I do anything to this car, because I guarantee you, once I work on this widget you got, I'm going to have a problem with a gadget in the back, and I want you to be aware of this gadget that's making noise or whatever the case may be. The reason I do that, it increases my bottom line. That's one, because I don't have to waste my time fixing something or diagnosing something that I didn't cause. I want the customer to be aware before I touch this car, they already had that noise. They already had that problem. Like this car right here, I had to figure out what was wrong with that. They're good customers. Don't get me wrong. They're great customers. I really like them. And I want them to stay with me. And when they came in, they said, hey, we got an air conditioning leak, and, if something happened, did you do it? No. Well, if we did, we're going to take care of it. That's the most important thing. So we want to make sure we get complete communication. Incomplete communication causes dissatisfied customers, and good customers don't complain. They just go away. You never see them again.
Air conditioning problems aren't as hard to duplicate as, like you say, drivetrain noises or vibrations.
Or squeaks or noises.
Yeah, then it's so very important for the customer to say, that's the noise I'm talking about. Because believe it or not, cars make all kinds of noises.
Don't they now? I mean, I was sitting here this morning. It was nice and quiet coming to work this morning. And I happened to hear noises in my vehicle inside. Well, most of it's because I got stuff in my car.
Yeah, rattles against the door panels.
Rattles against the door panel, my bee hat or something, or my smoker or something from my bee, whatever it is. Something's rattled back there. And I said, no, time to clean my car out. It's making noise when I drive down the road, and it's because I got stuff in it. But there's a lot of noises a lot of people don't hear, or they've blocked them out. Give an example. Tire noise. I've got cars that come in here. We go for a ride. And I said, do you hear that noise? They go, what noise? The no, I don't hear that noise.
Yeah, that's a big one, right?
And they go,
tire noise.
And they go, well, yeah. I said, this noise right here. And they go, I don't hear a noise you're talking about. And I said, well, you're complaining about a rough ride. Yeah, and you're complaining about the car pulling right or pulling left. Yeah, that's what I'm complaining about. You don't hear that noise. No, I don't hear that noise. Well, I'm going to tell you that noise is either A, a bad wheel bearing, or B, you've got bad tires. But if you can't hear this noise, and we can't get on the same page,
then we need to hook it up to chassis ears and turn the little microphone.
Well, then we need to make sure we're talking and communicating with each other. I've had some people that come in here, I just can't get them to be on the same wave pattern as me.
Yeah, but it's so nice to have the chassis ears, because how many times have you taken customers, because we still don't hear the noise, but he says, I know I've got a noise. So you hook up the chassis ears and you all go for a ride, and he gets to wear the headphones and click the switches, and now you can find the noise. And
that is what we've had to do sometimes. Sometimes I say, okay, but you don't hear the noise, I hear the noise, so we're going to find out what's going on. Now, chassis ears has, I want to say it has 6 channels on it. Yeah, it has 6 channels on it. I only use 4 at a time because I just...
Any more than that, and 2 of the microphones get damaged.
Yeah, it seems that way. But what we do is, all it is a little box, has wires going to it. It's it's got like alligator clamps that you clamp to the area that you think is questionable. It has a microphone in it. It has a wire that runs to this box, and from that box you have headphones, and you can control the volume, and you control what channel you're on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's how we're able to tell what the problem is. We go channel 2 is on the right front wheel up there, and boy, we get some noise when we go down the highway and we move the steering wheel left to right. When we put it on channel 1, which is the left front wheel bearing, it doesn't make any noise. We don't hear any noise, so we know the problem's in the right front, not the left front. I've had customers swear I've got a noise in the right front and it's the left rear.
Oh, we've had it. Yeah, I was going to say front to rear. For whatever reason, noise seems to transmit through the car, and it becomes very difficult to say exactly.
Very difficult. It does. So if you got a noise problem, step 1, go to a shop, have them verify the noise you're hearing. Where they have chassis ears or not, they've got to hear the noise that you're hearing. If they don't hear the noise you're hearing, you need to find another shop. I'm serious, because if y'all can't get on the same wave pattern, that's the thing I'm trying to get across. Too many people they have incomplete communication. They walk into a shop, throw them the keys, say, I got a noise coming from the front of my car. They don't go for a ride. They don't do anything like that. They don't do any pre-triage, so to speak, to determine what the problem is. Is it serious? Is it minor? What do we need to do with it? All they do is throw the keys to the service writer, fill out a form, get their name, address, phone number, how to get up with them. I'll come by, pick it up this afternoon. Give me a call when you find out what's wrong with it. Well, they look at it and they say, we don't hear the noise. The customer comes back and says, I know I got a noise. Well, let's go for a ride. Well, they go for go for a ride, and maybe the shop doesn't hear it. Maybe the customer doesn't hear it. That's why it's so very, very important. Don't waste your time dropping a car off for noises, vibrations, or strange drivability problems. Don't drop your keys off with the shop until you verify it with the shop doing the work. That's the biggest problem I see people talk about dealerships. They go into a dealership, the dealership doesn't have time or doesn't make time for someone to go for a ride to verify the problem.
Well, it's not their typical business model.
No, it's not. It is not their business model. Matter of fact, they're anti-doing that. Matter of fact, I've had to say, we don't have time to do that. And I said, but you got time to do the car over a second time.
Well, it's just the way they run things. That's why we're different.
That's why we're different. That's all I'm trying to do is I'm trying to save you, the customer out there, a lot of irritation, a lot of aggravation. Your time is valuable. You get off from work, you go pick your car up, you still got the same problem. The problem could have been avoided, or at least you could have got better communication by going to the shop, handing them the keys, and said, let's go for a ride. I want you to hear this problem.
And plus, so many times people have problems that they're not aware of because, like you said, they've become... I wouldn't say blind, but deaf.
Well, they're used to it. It's normal. Yeah. It's been there forever. I thought the car always sounded like that.
It's like going to see the doctor. Once a year, you need to go and see the doctor because some things you may not have noticed.
High blood pressure. High blood pressure. I don't feel like I have high blood pressure. Well, the machine says you do. Well, I feel fine. Well, okay, great. I just want to let you know you've developed high blood pressure. Well, it's the same thing with cars.
Yeah.
Sometimes
they seem fine. They might still have an issue.
And we see that quite often. Hey, this is James Morris. If you got a car question, we got to go to break. We got Karen Schoen calling in just a minute. It's all the way from Greenwood, Florida. I think she's going to be calling this morning, and she's going to be talking about, who knows what she's talking about, but normally she comes up with some very good ideas what's happening in our state, local, whatever. Somewhere in Tallahassee, I think she moved up there where she could be close to Tallahassee when the legislators start back up again. I think they start back up in January, don't they, Anna Marie? Or are they starting back up in March? I don't know. It's March, I think someone said. But anyway, the biggest thing is she's going to let us know what's going on. This is James Morris. We'll be right back.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guarantee.